Hey everyone, this is Dr. Israel with Integrative Kidney Institute, and today we're going to be talking about the April edition of Research and Kidney News. So let's do this.
But before we begin, make sure you press the subscribe button and the notification button so that YouTube notifies you when a new video comes out on our channel.
All right, so we combed through multiple medical journals looking for the latest research in integrative medicine in the last few months. And we know that your time is valuable, so we curated those studies for you and summarized them in this short video. So welcome to the April edition of InKidney Research and News. So this first study is a study about metabolic acidosis. So for those who are not familiar with metabolic acidosis describes the rising blood acidity. We're not talking about stomach acidity or acid reflux. We're talking about blood acidity. It comes from the metabolism of food. And in chronic kidney disease, this occurs because the kidneys loses their ability to get rid of the excess acid that is produced by the metabolism of food. And several studies have demonstrated that metabolic acidosis is actually associated with bone disease, muscle wasting, and faster progression of chronic kidney disease. To me, this is one of the largest studies and was published in Kidney Medicine. It confirms that correcting metabolic acidosis slows the progression of chronic kidney disease. In this study, the investigators included more than 51,000 patients with stage 3 to 5 chronic kidney disease. They compared patients with low serum bicarbonate or metabolic acidosis and those with normal serum bicarbonate. They looked at the difference between the two groups in outcomes such as decline in estimated GFR or kidney function and the annual healthcare cost. And those with metabolic acidosis has much higher risk for progression to CKD after 2 years. Each 1 milliequivalent, imagine that, each 1 milliequivalent increase in sodium bicarbonate was associated with 13% decrease in the progression of chronic kidney disease and 7% decrease in the annual cost of care. So there's a lot of study, as I mentioned, that found that correcting metabolic acidosis was associated with improved outcome. And there's no concern, a lot of people get concerned when you give someone sodium bicarbonate that is going to cause a rise in the blood pressure. And this has not been true in studies, in several studies. And I want to mention that 1 teaspoon of baking soda has about 60 milliequivalent of bicarbonate, while the sodium bicarb pill that is sold in the pharmacies has only 7.7 milliequivalent of bicarb. So you need a lot of pills. But you can have a half a teaspoon of baking soda if you need to take sodium bicarbonate, and you can mix it with a drink of choice, and that should be enough for the day for a patient with kidney disease. All right, the next study just showed that glutathione peroxidase is decreased in chronic kidney disease and linked to fibrosis. And this is one of those studies that looks into the proteomic research. This is one of the field that is expanding more and more. We're seeing studies about it in the literature. And one of the major problems in the progression of kidney disease is the development of this irreversible fibrosis or scarring. And in this is a basic research study. So a study on mice. They looked at the extracellular matrix, which is the matrix that the area in between the cells in the kidneys. And they looked at mice with chronic kidney disease and mice who are normal. And they did this proteome-wide analysis on those two mice. And they found 9 proteins that could play a role in causing oxidative stress, fibrosis, and inflammation. But only glutathione peroxidase 3 was decreased in CKD. So we talked about glutathione peroxidase when we talked about selenium in a previous video, and I put the link for it here. But basically, we showed this slide where we have reduced glutathione that when it's exposed to oxidative stress or hydrogen peroxide, it forms oxidized glutathione by glutathione peroxidase. This is the enzyme that does this reaction and requires selenium to make that oxidized glutathione. So if we don't have enough glutathione peroxidase, then we're not able to get rid of the oxidative stress. And like I said, in the kidneys, glutathione peroxidase 3 is responsible for converting glutathione, our master antioxidant, to the oxidized state. And glutathione not only help with oxidative stress, it also recycles other antioxidants, has many other functions in the cells. And a decrease in glutathione peroxidase 3 in chronic kidney disease that is observed in this study hinder the kidney's ability to deal with oxidative stress, which can lead to inflammation and fibrosis. So it is really important that we support glutathione, and that could be one of the crucial elements in decreasing fibrosis in kidney disease. But how do we support glutathione? Food is medicine, as we talk about always. So consuming sulfur-containing food, glutathione is made of 3 amino acids. One of them is cysteine, which contains sulfur. And food that is rich in sulfur include garlic, onions, cruciferous vegetables, and eggs. You can also increase intake of vitamin C that is essential for the production of glutathione in the body, and supplement with N-acetylcysteine, which is a precursor of cysteine, which is a building block of glutathione. And exercise actually was found to increase glutathione levels and reduce oxidative stress. And reducing stress, the psychological stress, can help improving glutathione level. Chronic stress actually has been found to deplete glutathione in the body, and engaging in stress-reducing activities such as meditation, yoga, deep breathing can help support glutathione level. And the final study we're going to talk about today is a population-based study that looked at SGLT2 inhibitors. And it probably showed that these medications that are being pushed more and more for chronic kidney disease patients are not as safe as they have been depicted. In this study, published in CJASN, one of the major journals in kidney health and kidney disease, investigators looked at healthcare insurance claim data of patients with stage 3 and stage 4 kidney disease and type 2 diabetes who newly filled prescriptions for either SGLT2 inhibitors or glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor antagonist. They compared study outcomes between the two groups, which included diabetic ketoacidosis, lower limb amputation, non-vertebral fractures, genital infections, hypovolemia or dehydration, acute kidney injury, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, or severe urinary tract infection. And they found that SGLT2 inhibitors was associated with higher risk for non-vertebral fractures, lower limb amputation, and genital infections. Interestingly, the rate of DKA and dehydration and hypoglycemia was the same between the two groups. Also, the rate of severe UTI, urinary tract infections, was the same between the two groups. And SGLT2 inhibitors were associated with lower risk of AKI. So before you start the patient on an SGLT2 inhibitors, make sure they don't have diabetic foot ulcers. Make sure they're not at risk for osteoporosis or non-vertebral fractures. Make sure they don't have UTI or recurrent UTIs. This is what I do for my patient, and it's what I recommend for everybody. So I hope you like this video. If you like it, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Integrative Kidney, on Facebook at InKidney, and we're always on www.inkidney.com.